on the Burt Show this morning. Alice, we know how this works, okay? I've been doing this long enough to know that we got to get you now with your first number one, because once you start building a library and resume, you're going to be untouchable. All right, you're not coming in here. You're not going to be doing radio interviews. So we're doing it all today.
Yeah, okay, all right. I don't know if that's how it really works, though. Is that how it works?
Yeah. You think I could just call Beyonce right now? You think she's going to be eager to come on in here?
I don't know. Maybe she would. Maybe you have to give like really good arguments.
But you have to make a promise, because we made this promise with Justin Bieber. Because we were the first interview that Justin Bieber ever did.
Are you serious?
Yes. And so now we have this great relationship, and he comes back. We have great interviews. So you have to make us a promise that now that we've established this relationship, you have to come back.
All right. I promise I will.
Okay.
But it's so nice in Atlanta as well. Like, you guys have really beautiful streets here. Like the neighborhoods are just so pretty.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I really like it. It reminds me a lot of Oakville, where I'm from.
So when you come to a city, do you have enough time really to, you're talking like you're just strolling down neighborhood streets?
Well, actually, yesterday we had some time. So we had an off day yesterday, which was really nice to kind of just adjust to the time change, and that was cool. Like we walked around. We've actually been to Atlanta before, and we went to my favorite diner. That's it's like empty most of the time, but it's really cool. I forget what the name is, but it's really nice.
See, usually empty means stay away from it. Like somebody like
you think so, but the food's really, really good.
What's the go-to order? Because you always have like the one thing when you go to a diner that you want. I get beef stroganoff.
Really?
That's my go-to diner order whenever I go to a diner.
Huh. I always order poached eggs. I don't know why. It's not that special. Poached eggs with a bagel. I need bagels.
I feel like you guys are living dangerously. I do. Poached eggs, man. That better be done right. Now, you've lived, you've gone, let's see, where have you lived?
So I've lived in Connecticut.
Okay.
I've lived in Frankfurt. I've lived in Oakville, so in Canada.
Okay.
I've lived in Munich. I've lived in a place called Ottobrunn, but no one would know that. Then I've lived in England.
No, I do know. You know
what?
Ottobrunn? They've got a great diner there that I had poached eggs at all the time.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's more sketchy than yours. There's a tattoo parlor next door.
I do have a selfish question, because my last name is Klingshirn. So one guess where my heritage is from.
Germany?
Yes, I'm very Bavarian, but I've never been to Germany.
Are you serious?
And it's on my bucket list, because I want to research my family history and I want to go back. So, you living there and having all that connection, I want to know if you had any advice for me when I do visit your beautiful country.
Oh my God, so much advice. Okay, so the two cities that you have to see are Munich, which is in like the south, so that's like Bavaria, very kind of old fashioned, and then you have to go to Berlin, and it's the exact opposite. So everyone's kind of like really chilled. Everyone's always out like on the street, kind of just enjoying the sun. Like on a really nice day, everyone's in the park, everyone's in cafes, and there's music everywhere. Like there's street artists, there's just so much to see. There's so much history in Berlin, so it's a completely different atmosphere. So,
have you ever done the street artist thing? Have you ever performed on the street just cause?
I've never performed on the street, to be honest, and I'm just terrified of it. I'm like I'm always scared someone's gonna like stand there with an egg and just throw it at me. I don't know. It's like, yeah.
But they're not like that. Like they're artsy and fun and happy. And whenever people do an impression of a German person, it's always this very angry. Like say something sexy right now in German.
In German? Oh my God. What can I say? Okay. Dein Lächeln ist wunderschön. That's kind of sexy.
I mean, you actually pull it off.
Does it sound sexy? No, I can't tell anymore.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
You got the most stamp of approval.
Absolutely.
I just feel like when I'm listening to two Germans speak German to each other, that they're arguing.
Yes, I thought so. When I grew up in Canada, I didn't understand German, but my mom was German, so she would phone with her mom, and I always after they hung up, I was like, "Mom, why are you fighting with Oma?" And she's like, "I'm not fighting. We're just having a nice conversation." Like, whoa! So I always thought it's this really aggressive language.
Right.
Yeah.
Alice Merton joining us in studio. You know her song "No Roots," #1, right? It was #1 in France first. In France it actually went #1, but in Germany it was #2 first. So it started in Germany, then it moved over to Austria, Switzerland, and then France caught on. So that was really cool. Now this is your first big hit, so I'm really curious as a new artist, and you've got this hot song. It doesn't matter what country it's in, but in France and Germany in this case, do you have somebody calling you like each day, telling you, "Okay, we're working our way up the charts today. We're at 48," and then they call you the next day and go, "We're at 35," or how does that work?
Oh, no, I don't have that. I mean, actually, David, our promoter in America, like he would do that while we're in America. But in Europe, no one really does that. In Europe, just like, oh, by the way, you're number 2, just so you know. Like it's like one of those things that you just say with the weather, like, oh, the weather's really nice. Oh, by the way, did you know you're number 3?
Isn't that like a symbol of how we live our life? For, like here, you're so competitive and you got to be successful in America. And in Europe, it's a little like, hey, just want to let you know you're number 2 today.
That's exactly how it feels like. Like our promoter. So when we were working with Red and our promoter David, he was just like so enthusiastic. Like it was a game for him. Like it was like, okay, we're at number 5, we're gonna get to number 4, and like in Europe it's just the complete opposite. I feel like it's like, oh yeah, great, we're number 10, we're number 5,
right.
So
we'll get there when we get there. Yeah. But first coffee. Yeah, it's always first coffee.
Yes, I just feel like they know how to kind of enjoy the moment a lot. Like they
Agreed.
Really focus on that.
Yep. So does that mean the audiences are different? Do you perform differently when you're in Europe than you do in the States?
I don't think we perform differently. I think like the audiences are very welcoming in America, which I really, really like. The German audiences are a little bit conservative sometimes. They're a little bit like held back. They're kind of like they like when there's this one song where I love getting people to jump. And then there's always like 20% that doesn't jump. I'm not jumping. This is stupid.
You ever stop your show and go, look, we're not going on until I can get 80%.
I give them like the really mean looks. I'm like, okay, if you guys don't jump, I'm gonna look really mad at you. So I do that, but like, yeah, they still don't jump.
Right. Well, Alice is gonna perform her song, No Roots, for us, and you've got a new EP out.
It was released, I think, like 2-3 weeks ago in America.
What do you mean you think? Aren't these things that you're supposed to know? Like...
The thing is, it's so complicated because we released this in Europe like a year and a half ago. The EP was released a year and a half ago, and it wasn't released in America yet. So we signed then with Mom and Pop, which is an indie label based in New York, and then they released it just a few weeks ago. Like the song No Roots was released like half a year ago.
Okay.
And then the EP was then released like 3 weeks ago, which is crazy. So it's fresh out of the oven, kind of.
Are you sick of your own song already? I mean, because you've been on it for a year and a half. America just now caught on to it.
I'm not sick of it because it's just talking about my life story. So
it's moving around.
Yeah.
And it's a great song. It really is.
Thank you so much.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, really quick before she kicks off, because I want to live vicariously through you, just super, super quick.
Okay.
Because I saw you're going to be doing a festival in Austin, and Sir Paul McCartney is going to be the headliner.
I know.
So, Alice, if you were able to run into Paul McCartney himself, what would you do?
Oh my God, I would be speechless.
Yeah.
I would probably just start singing like all the Beatles songs. Just probably start with like
Let's go down the title
Eleanor
list.
Rigby.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think. What would I ask him?
I just want to let you know
that
if you
prepared.
start singing Beatles songs to Paul McCartney, it's going to be weird.
It's going to be so weird, right?
I don't know if you got a whole bunch of yes people around you, but I'm telling you right now, that's going to be really strange for him.
Probably shouldn't be the first thing you do.
Right. Imagine you walking in the door and me just singing No Roots to you.
I would love that. When I come back, please let's do that.
Okay.
Let's workshop
so
this just a second. We got to come up just in case you're on the festival grounds in Austin and you guys cross paths with each other. You got to be prepared.
Yeah.
I do have to be prepared.
Yes.
Oh my God, you're scaring me now.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Like, I hadn't even thought about this. I don't think, but like, what's the likelihood of crossing paths with him?
It could happen.
I don't know. I feel like he would have like 100 bodyguards around him.
No.
I think you have to sort of somehow bond over music immediately.
Maybe.
Like maybe even ask him a question and get him invested in your career or something.
But what kind of, like, that guy has probably been asked every single question
known to man.
And I always think to myself, am I just wasting your time by asking a question that like 100 people have already asked you?
I think
I'd have
that's
to come
the start
up with
right there.
Maybe like, what's your favorite ice cream? Like just a really random question, and he'll be like, "Oh, that's something no one's ever asked me that before."
Well,
so.
I like that way better than you just breaking out in a beat.
Oh, come on. I wonder how many times somebody's been in an actual emergency and they're like, help. And Paul McCartney's like, I know, it's a great song. Whatever.
All right, well, let's do this thing. I'd love to hear the song. It's so hot, and it's being played all over the country now. So let's hear it here live.
Okay, sounds good.
Real funny. The Burt Show.